All right, everybody, thanks for joining us. We'll start with from the coach and then any questions. If you have a question before we chat.
Well, certainly excited to get to this point and have the ability to start the season. Really do appreciate the work that so many have done to get us to this. And, you know, the home opener is always exciting. I know a number of you have heard this, but it truly is. And then to be the first game against, you know, conference opponent, Penn State, you know, the opportunity to have fans back in the stadium. It's, you know, I know I'm speaking not just for myself, but our players. Really excited to get going, and you know, I like the work we've put in the week so far, and still have a couple things to finish up, but anxious to get going.
Jeff?
Paul, you know that game one special teams can be really an adventure sometimes. Do you have a good feel for your special teams across the board based on what you saw in camp, or there's still some things you need to see in a game?
No, I mean, you're exactly right that, you know, certainly special teams really just kind of getting back to playing, you know, defensively tackling and offensively, you know, the ball security and, you know, being smart and penalties, right? You see a lot of things in the first games and, you know, I feel confident with our team. You know, certainly, Jeff, you asked about the special teams. We've got a lot of guys that have played on them. And I think that's what's been good, you know, as far as for camp. You know, we've had really good leadership in all the special teams in the core, but you know, you're also going out and you know, you're playing a game and you know, first game, there's going to be some things that you don't necessarily plan for. You obviously hope that you minimize them, but I don't know that you ever quite know what to expect for a first game, but I do feel really good with our team, you know, special teams included going into it.
There we go. Paul, kind of in the same vein there, we saw that Collin Larsh was going to be the starting kicker, at least in the depth chart there. What did you see from him during camp that he earned that job? Because we knew that it was going to be a competition going in.
Yeah, you know, he did earn it. And I think that, you know, obviously put a lot of work into it. And I like where I think through that work and what he's done, I think he's gained confidence. And I think that's one of the kind of a goal that you have every year, certainly, but I think this is a good example of it. When you have competition, you know, genuine competition, I think it forces guys to improve and kind of the way you approach it, it changes it. And so I think, you know, he's done a nice job of that. And obviously we feel good with him going forward.
Jesse?
Paul, sticking with the special teams theme here, what have you thought about Andy Vunovich and what he's brought to the punting game since he got here? And also, have you seen many punters as physically put together as him?
No, he is physically, he's put together and you know, we think he's a really good punter, you know, combination. And, you know, again, and I think kind of his physical shape is kind of speaks to who he is as a guy in the sense that he's not going to cut one corner. He's going to work at it and puts the time in on it. And we do feel good with him, you know, and I think there's a lot of guys like that. And now you get to go out and it's time to compete. But I really do. And I think our team feels really confident in him. And I think it's a big part of it is he's talented, and two, how he goes about his day-to-day business.
Steve?
I'm just wondering, I know it's going to be a friendly crowd, but just how much of an adjustment process do you think it's going to be in terms of just communication on the field and stuff to be playing in a full stadium again after empty stadiums last year? And I was just wondering, is there anything you've done in the last couple of weeks to kind of prepare for that, even though it's not a road crowd, the fact you're going to be playing in front of full stadiums again after being in silence the last year?
Yeah, I mean, you try to do some things, you know, all the time as a coach, but bottom line is it will be different. We've got a lot of guys that have played in front of big crowds, home and away, but it'll, I think in the end, it'll be more of a positive. And I think you're right, Steve. I mean, there's going to be, there's going to be times when it's going to be loud, and we're going to have to make sure that we do a good job of communicating. But, that last year was more, the outlier, and now hopefully we're back to kind of what we're used to. And that's playing in front of, packed stadiums, and we couldn't be more excited for it to be a home opener for us.
Jake?
Hey, Paul, I was going to ask too, just with Graham in particular, was there one or two areas of his game that you saw through the progression of fall camp and into this week that has stood out the most in terms of improvement from even what you saw last season in 2020?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, with all the players, it's, if you went back and looked at something from last year, Graham included in this, there are things that you'd say are different, right? But I don't think that all of a sudden, if there was a big change, the start of game week, then that would tell me that he's been holding back on something. And I don't think that's been his approach at all. And so I don't think there's been right. It's a progression that we're around him all the time. And I don't think you see it like you do if someone that just comes, back and hadn't seen him for a year. And now hopefully, they can identify some things that are better, but I don't know quite if I'm understanding the question right, but I don't think there's been like all of a sudden ramped it up. And I don't feel that with our team. I think that's what I mean when I say I like this team and I like their approach. I think that every time they go, they put it out there, and so I don't, like I said, I don't know if I'm understanding the question right, but I certainly haven't seen like a big jump just in the last week or week and a half, but that's not a negative to me either.
All right, we'll wrap things up with one more from Jeff.
Paul, I think everybody knows what you have as a receiving threat in Jake Ferguson, but for Eschenbach, are there some things that he is capable of doing today, this season, that wasn't the case last year when he was just getting to learn that position?
I do think there are, I think that, that he's like a lot of players. Last year he got to play and gained experience. And this year, his role will be different, but I think it's an earned role. And, whether it's in the, all the things that tight ends do, I think that he's improved in those kind of categories, as a blocker, as a receiver, he'll play on special teams. Is a guy that, will do anything for this team. So I would, I think right now he's obviously a better player than he was last year. I think he's taking advantage of kind of those experiences that he had last year, and then you're able to apply those in your off season. So, we certainly need him to be a guy that is better this year than he was last year. All right. Thank you.